So hello and welcome to the Fishbing channel. Today we are doing a special video. Like some people know, like fans of the channel, that we have been playing games set in Antiquity, and then we are moving on to the Middle Ages, then from the Middle Ages to the Age of Sail with the muskets, then to the Victorian era with the Steam Age, then the World Wars, Cold War, Modern Era, Near Future, and then Distant Future. So to make and to play the games and through all those time periods, I had to make a list. I had to do research, figure out all the games. I watched like many videos where they did like the top 10 games set in this time period, and then I read like forum posts. I asked on Reddit. Still, it wasn't so helpful. Yes, I'm sorry, people on the internet, but you guys suck at this because most of the lists were like the top 10 most generic games, or it's like an AI compiled the top 10 games, or it's like you take the first most known games, and those were the lists. Like it was really hard and annoying. It was especially annoying to watch and rewatch and have listen to this 10 times the same game being mentioned. It's not only games. I want also to do gameplay. So also I had to find out like which games use mods, are modded really well, and do they have like sufficient mods to be set in those time periods. So I decided, whoever also is struggling like this one person, because I don't know that I don't know if so many people actually want to play so many games, because the streaming of Antiquity took like half a year, and now we are 1 year later and we are like around in the middle of the Middle Ages. So I'm still have to go probably years before I reach the distant future. But I don't know who wants to do that. But I played the games, I looked them up, I made a whole long list, and this list is there for whoever wants to play in a certain time period. They can just go to this video. They can just go to the timestamps. You don't need to watch the whole thing. I'm fine. It's gonna be a long list, all right. And next, it's gonna be also like with mods. There are gonna be mod lists, so you can decide to use mods if you already own a game. Because why would you need to buy it? It's just for gameplay. It's just for fun. It's not gonna be like purity of the game or whatever. So the first game I want to talk about is the one game we use to control the time period, because it's Imperator Rome. This game is from Paradox. It's like my cat is going looking out the window. Cat, don't dox me, please. What the hell are you doing, cat? All right. The Imperator Rome Paradox games are where you look at a giant map and you play like a grand strategy game where you not only control like one country and you fight wars, you control also more things, layers below it. And the different Paradox games are set in different time periods. So this one is set, the name says in Rome, but it's set around the rise of Rome. So you still have like Sparta, you still have like the fallen pieces of the Macedonian Empire from Alexander the Great, and you have like a bunch. You have like the map is really diverse, and you can pick a lot of choices and just change the course of history, change the fate of a civilization. And the tech tree is not only based on technology, but also on cultural developments or other governmental developments or religion. So you can actually forge your civilization. It has layers below it also, that you have political factions below you who also have ideals you have to deal with, and then below that they have families, so they are part of families. So you have also dynasties playing their influence, with rich families sometimes becoming richer, that you have to deal with those guys, or some guys having so much money that they can pay off the armies, and when you become more dependent on the armies, that can be also a struggle. So there's a lot of cool drama just laying there in layers that can come out and just ruin your day. And we even used like a mod that I will put down there, because the game only goes until 27 BC, and I wanted to go through all of history. So I used a mod to extend the timeline until 400 AD. It can even go beyond. But then the great thing about this Paradox game is, and we will mention the other Paradox games later, is that you can convert this game, the save file you have played, into the other game. So you can convert the classical time period, where this list about the classical time period, you can convert that into the medieval game, and you can convert that medieval game into the Renaissance game, and then that one into the Steam Age, World War. You cannot do the modern. There's no modern game, but there's a future game, but you don't need to convert that. You can just build a civilization. That's something else. The next game is Bannerlord. Bannerlord is a strategy game, but in real time also. But you are now on the battlefield. But more than other games where you control the armies on the battlefield, or you are one soldier, you are both. You are a dude on the battlefield. You can decide to join other lords in their battlefields, or you can command, shout, scream commands while you press the hotkeys. There is a mod that you can use your voice commands. That's pretty cool, but that's beyond the scope of this. So you can. There's a hair now. Oh my cat! There's a dangerous predator. Is he trying to kill me here? What the? I survived that assassination attempt of my cat. So you can also roleplay. So it has like an open world campaign mode. You can run around smithing, trading, marrying, having a family. So it's like also role-playing, and with many mods you can add and change things of the game. That's why we are here in the mods, because the game itself is set in the Middle Ages, but with a certain mod like Rising Eagle, you can set it in the classical period with the Greeks. Well, not really the Greeks, but the Carthaginians are there, and they have the Greeks in them, with the Romans, and with the Germanic tribes, the Stygians, and they will add more facts. So eventually they will add the Greeks. That's what they say on their mod page. So look out for that. It's a pretty cool mod. We can do cool battles, and the soldiers look so amazing. They look so cool. Like, if you have seen my summary videos where we talk about our Imperator Rome campaign, I use footage from this game in those videos. Now we have Rome Total War 2. I love Rome Total War. You know, that's one of the franchises I was playing really early on. And it was Medieval 1 was one of my first games outside the education games that my parents gave me. I tricked my mom in buying this one because I thought I would learn about history with Medieval 1, and I just thought Medieval 1 had such amazing graphics back then. But just looking at it now, it was different, alright? But I was pretty cool in primary school that I had the game. I had so many new friends in primary school just because I had that amazing game. So it gets you free friends, Total War games, just so you know that one. But so Rome Total War itself is like, you have also a campaign mod like Imperator Rome. A few more things are more abstract, so it's simulating less about the world, but still simulates some culture, the people, the economy below it. But the great thing where Total War franchise wins is in the battles. And I've played Rome 1, and I hadn't played Rome 2 for a while. I didn't buy it when it came out, because when it came out, it was right before studying became a bit too much. But right before it came out, it was like buggy and a bit of a mess. So that's the thing I remembered. Then the study started, and then I didn't really pay much attention to it. Then after a while, when I was streaming, people were like, "Hey, let's play Rome Total War 2," and I was like, "Okay, fine, I will play it. Let's see how it is now. Maybe it'll fixed up." And we started playing it, and I thought I would be extreme noob. I would be completely defeated. But you can see on the streams where I play the game, you can see me actually using some tactics from the ancient times, and it is able to be used. Actually, we were victorious. We were not playing alone, we were playing in teams, but I feel like I really contributed, and there were like double there were like this what the moments from the enemy, like what the hell is going on here, like. So I was using tactics from the ancient times, and that actually worked. I was quite surprised, you know. So it was pretty funny. So the simulation of the game is good enough to actually reproduce those ancient tactics. Now we will go to the other game, and that's Rimworld. And Rimworld, it's with modded. Rimworld itself is a great game because there is one thing you can do in this game you can do nowhere else. Before I explain what the game is, I will tell you I am a character in this game. I actually exist as a character. You can kill me or harvest my organs or do whatever with me because I exist within the game. Because when this game was being developed, I found out about it. I would read every forum post, or I would like follow or be like, "Oh, it's so cool," and just not do my homework and look at posts about this game. I donated to be in the game, you know, like I did that. But the game itself is really great with mods because unlike many other mods, once the game gets updated, the mods can use separate folders inside the mod to be for different game versions. So your games don't get broken if the game gets updated or the mod gets updated to a different version, because the mods can be compatible with different versions, and I don't know why nobody else is doing that on Steam. So that's just so the mod support is so incredible, and I have like a list of mods you can use to play in Antiquity. Not all the mods are going to work for the same version, so I'm just gonna compile a list of mods. You still I'm so sorry, you have to look at them yourself and decide which mods you like, which ones you don't like. And there are gonna be like also fantasy mods that add like mythological creatures, and other mods that add more historical things. There's a mod that adds the earth. You don't need all those mods because maybe you don't want that part, so just look at it, see what you like. It's like more like a list that makes it easy to find the mods you want to use. But if you guys really want to me to make a custom mod pack, just tell me so. I would love to make like custom mod pack for Rimworld or for other games, and I will tell later. So the other game here, the more familiar game, Minecraft. For this one, you can play it modded or not with mods. Like what we did, like with a server with friends and family, was that we would pretend to be like in Stone Age, and then we had to build like a wonder, and then we had to build like Stonehenge or some other Stone Age building, and then we were allowed to go into the Antiquity, and then in Antiquity we had to build a wonder from Antiquity. So we would build like the Hanging Gardens or like a big pantheon of like Greek buildings or Colosseum. Then we were allowed to go to the different eras, and we will build wonders in those eras and still build buildings in those styles, and our cities, our bases would evolve like they were like going through time. It was pretty cool. I think it's pretty cool. So if you like to play like that, that's an idea you can do. It's a free idea because it's free, you know. But if you want to do modded too, there will be a list of mods in the description. Also, these mods will be in different versions. Like some mods are gonna be for multiple versions because that's how the mod makers made them. I don't know. So it's gonna be a handy list. I will do with some mods I will tell a short description, maybe like how they can be used. But if you guys want to make me like with Rimworld like a custom mod pack, I can do that. We can make a video about it. I can tell about it, how to make this custom mod pack and what you guys can edit or change into the mod pack to make it more enjoyable for yourself. Ryse, Son of Rome. This game is like an action blockbustery game where you have to imagine like you go to you play like a Gladiator, the movie, where Gladiator itself is not historical, right? They use like historical names, they use historical characters, but they made up their own story. So this game has the same thing. Like it has like historical names. They use characters, but those characters are like not really related sometimes, but they are like in the game, and they like the father and the daughter are not like actually how this was, I believe, in ancient times. I'm not sure. Don't quote me on that. But you can play through it. It's pretty fun. If you want to just have an action game, you can go hacking, slashing, you fight with barbarians, then suddenly you do other stuff. I'm not gonna be too much in spoilers. So if this is your type of game, it looks still great because it's 10 years old, but it's still, or now 11 years old because we started playing it a year ago. It still looks good. We who are about to die, you know, that's the Latin phrase that the gladiators would say to the host of the battle, like, we are about to die, to be more dramatic. Most gladiators didn't die because it was quite expensive to train them, but in this game they do die. You get slashed apart because this is like a roguelike battle simulate, because the roguelike is right, when you die you lose and you restart. I think, you know, we've been starting labeling games, but it's still not clear to me how exactly the labels are being worked out here. After playing games for so long, I still don't understand. But you play as a gladiator. You upgrade your gladiator. You have like sponsors or Patreons. You have some political intrigue there, and then you have like a bit of wacky mechanics of fighting. So you have to learn how to use that. I have streamed it, but the game has been released 1.0 after I streamed it, so a couple of things have changed. My work colleague watched the stream, and then he bought the game, and then the game had more fun stuff that I just told you guys about. So check it out. Go to the page and look if you like this type of game. Then we have Casina, the Forgotten Comedy. There is where I have to be a bit more critical here. It might be that I do not. Well, I first for context, so you can from your opinion. Casina, the Forgotten Comedy, is a game based on Pelagius, his comedy that he wrote, and he wrote that like he was like a Roman, and he wrote about something in ancient Athens. Maybe I don't like the Roman style of comedy, because in this comedy they do make jokes, and these jokes exist also, still is relatable to comedy today, but I didn't really find it so funny. And it's not like I'm some encultural barbarian, all right? There are ancient plays that I like. I like frogs from Aristophanes. I like that one. But still, the Forgotten Comedy is great to learn about the ancient jokes, and maybe it's your type of jokes. Also, what maybe messed up it for me, because maybe I am the one that's not having so much fun about it, is that I'm dyslexic and I can read normally, but apparently also if you go on the Steam page, this writer is not natively English. I'm not natively English, but if it's not natively English written, my brain already is messed up for reading and stuff like that. Then it gets messed up like that, and I think I am doing the problem. And I'm like, what the hell is going on? I don't understand the thing is written. And then when I do understand, it's not my type of comedy, so I'm even more like disconnected. And the game also has a lot of context, like it explains you the context of it, some jokes, but also explaining jokes makes it less funny. But I would say it's a great tool to learn about ancient comedies, and it's not horrible. It's still, you can still just play through it. It's still on the great production, all right? It's not like a horrible game. And I do know this comedy that I've seen in the game. It still exists in real life, so it still might be fun. And the best advice I can give you to if you want to play this game, because it's quite abstract if I'm not specific, right, telling you guys what this type of humor is. I think the best way is actually you can experience it yourself. You can just Google Pelagius and then watch a play on YouTube. You can also watch frogs, from Aristophanes. I'm just telling you guys that one is amazing. That one is gold. You can watch the plays and then you can make up your mind if that's your type of humor. If you like humor, you might like this one too. So there it goes. That's my advice to play the game. You should play it if you like it. Makes sense. Then we go Assassin's Creed Odyssey. Like I have to be fair here that I have not played Assassin's Creed so much, only with friends, sometimes other PlayStation, but I never owned an Assassin's Creed game. So, but I was trying out new games, right? So I played Assassin's Creed Odyssey because it's set in Antiquity and it's set in ancient Greece, and the game looks amazing, and I'll put a lot of amazing effort in it. But I will end on the good notes at the end, because if you start with the bad, you keep always the good things at the end. That's something with human brains, so weird. So the game itself has like a modern plotline. Like I suddenly must put out of the game, and it was in modern times. It was a bit annoying. The story is okay. I didn't. To be fair, I didn't care so much in the story, but there were parts of it that I really thought were cool when you meet historical characters in the game, and you're like, oh, I recognize you, the recognizing moment. But that's also a bit... it's not the most groundbreaking story device, right? It's like, oh, you recognize this character, right? But it's still pretty fun, I guess, if you don't recognize characters, because they do go through the steps to add the characters pretty well there. And the game itself looks so amazing. But I don't mean like the graphics look good. Like the game actually has like things like I learned about when I was younger and was in school, or I went through my whole phase that I amazingly loved Greek mythology. Like I decided to like turn off the HUD and just walk into a direction, and then there I find like places that I actually liked from. I'm like completely surprised. Like wow, that's actually from the books, or that that's pretty cool. Sadly, there's one thing, and this is an annoyance, is that it is an RPG, and I will end apparently in a negative note, because I forgot to say this before. The game itself is like an RPG, I think. So some places have like higher level enemies, and when you're walking through them, you get you cannot kill the enemies. Like, they are too strong. And the game is not really well made for mods, so there are cheat mods, but then I had to do way too much effort to install the mods. So it was way easier for me to just take a horse and run away, but it's a bit annoying, right, that I cannot survive into a place. And then there is a tour mode, you can tour through the world, but that tour mode, you cannot turn off the HUD. So I have to work with giant bright lights marking me to, oh, something is going on here. Like, I don't want to see the HUD. I just want to walk in my expensive walking simulator. I still feel, and this is it, right? If it's just a walking simulator, if you remove all the content, I'm happy what I paid with. It's expensive, yeah, but it's so amazing, right? I would pay that price just to have like the whole model of Greece or any other ancient time period, just to walk around it. I'm fine with that, but the game, the supposed things that are supposed to keep me engaged with the game are just in my way. And I know people put effort into it because there are things that I love and are niche and they are in the game. So those are my points of annoyances because people did love it. It's like there were like managers who gave like unclear guidance, or they have like a giant team and a lot of team members did amazing jobs in making this game, but they were just not organized. They were not communicating correctly. So you have different game mechanics that just don't work together. And I just wish I could turn them off. I'm fine with just walking around there, but things keep me engaged just sit in my way. That's my rant. Okay, Orbi Universo. Orbi Universo, pretty cool game. It reminds me of category theory, where category theory is like an abstraction of an abstraction of an abstraction. I'm not gonna go into that one. It's not fine. We don't need to do a category theory video here, but the game itself makes civilization extremely abstract, where you have like simple functions in the game itself that are connected to other functions with like how they relate to each other, and if you change something here, it changes the things are connected. Like if you get more food, more babies can be born, more things can be done there. So stuff like that. It's really simple, the mechanics at the beginning, but over time more and more things get unlocked, and then it becomes this giant complex web of a civilization where you can have cascading effects that go wrong, negative feedback loops, that and you die like that. So you die quite realistically, that your civilization can just collapse because it becomes so complex with these simple mechanics that I am like, wow, this is so great. And this is one of the games I lose so many times in, but it's so fun because I try to micromanage a civilization because I'm like, okay, I can do this, but apparently not, because it's a giant monster, eldritch horror beyond your control, even that you placed every little bit there. That's what civilization is. I learned that now because of this game. Pretty cool. I wish more games could, like, the best game ever, I would think, is like if you would have like a Bannerlord game where below the game this was going on. That would be great, but I think that would be extremely complex and it could go out of control. But it would be so cool if you have like a 3D world where you can run around, give commands to soldiers, build cities, and have this below it like going on in the background, and that this whole thing can cascade or go wrong, and that would be so cool. But we can only dream. So now we go to the Civ series, like Civ 5, 6, 6. I will show footage, but Civ, because I say Civ 6 and 6, 5, 7 is coming, and there are many more in the past. So if you like those games, it's just here. These games themselves are not really only set in the Antiquity. They go to different time periods. But this is the ultimate list, so they are here. There are mods, there are maps of the world where you can play in Antiquity. There's special leaders with special units and special bonuses in Antiquity in the early game, so you can lock the game and you can actually play in only Antiquity or expand it with mods. So there you go, there it is. The same is for Rise of Nations. This is a game that also has many mods. It's a bit older game, it has not been updated. The new versions like Civ Maya Civilization. But the difference between Civ Maya, where I forgot to explain, is that Civ Maya is like a strategy game where you sit above, you rule your country, and you have turn-based, and you expand with culture and religion, like the other strategy games. The Rise of Nations is a game where you do do the same thing, but it's in real time. And of course, the game looks different, has different artwork, and the game itself. Also, you have build wonders, you fight battles, and there are different mechanics. But yeah, so you also exploit the world and the resources with that game and go conquer. Then we go to Expeditions Rome. Expeditions Rome is like a strategy game where you control like a band of heroes. You fight battles turn-based. They have the different abilities. They have ability scores. You can upgrade them, get new equipment. You follow a storyline where you are with young Caesar. I don't know how far the storyline goes because around this time I went playing way too many campaigns. So I get really excited because they added Caesar and they added like the historical game mechanics. But sadly, I don't know how far we go. But on the Steam page, it does say you fight in Gaul, you fight in Africa. So, and there are real political events. So I guess, and you see also pictures set in Rome. So I guess we go through parts of Caesar's life, but I don't know how far because it doesn't say on the Steam page. But it not saying on the Steam page could still mean it happens. Is that Caesar goes to Britain, but it doesn't say on the Steam page it goes to Britain. So, and after Britain is the whole, civil war with Pompey Magnus and the whole, assassination bit. Spoilers if you didn't know that Caesar gets stabbed many, many times. It's a pretty late spoiler if you didn't know that one, but I don't know how far we get with Caesar, but it still is an interesting game. And I cannot spoil it because I don't know. But talking about Britain, Caesar itself did like an expeditionary force to Britain, but later you would have like the uncle of Caligula, who I forgot the name right now, who I have to Google now in Claudius. There's a book and a TV show of Claudius. I am Claudius, but for some reason I forgot the name. I couldn't get to the name. Sometimes you have that name, you couldn't reach it. But Claudius itself, I don't think he led the invasion. Like he used his commanders. Like he was more like he was really smart, but he was like behind the scenes smart. Not with war tactics. But he would organize like the invasion of Britannia, so give the orders to go. And you play in a game as like a commander that is sent there to fight in Britannia, do the invasion. You manage your legions, your soldiers, you upgrade them, you learn about the different names of the ranks, because going through them, you give them promotions. If they survive, you give them better armors. So they have their names, so some of them grow attached to you. But the thing I loved the most about the game is that you can also design your own camp, Roman camp. You can take that with you through the map. And because I thought it was pretty cool, I googled and I read like different papers and looked at the different maps of how they draw it. I actually had to go through research papers to figure out all different variations of Roman camps. I believe the Roman camps were really similar because that was what I was taught in school. But of course, the Roman Empire exists for a long time. Before that, you have the Republic, and after that, you have the Ryse Roman Empire, still Roman Empire. So there's a lot of differences in a long time period. So of course, there are small changes to the camps, and even within the same time periods, it's not always the same. But they do follow a template, and sometimes they were pretty similar. And all that stuff I hadn't learned until I did this. And also, of course, what I learned is that many cities, right, on the Roman fleet. I knew cities were based on Roman camps, but over time they would evolve more and more. So a lot of cities have still that architecture of the Roman camp, so that's pretty cool and stuff like that to read stuff how that looks. Next game is Zero AD. Zero AD itself is a game set around Zero AD. Wow, I know, wouldn't guess that. It's a game where you have the town cities like Age of Empires. You collect resources, build buildings, get new units. Then if you have a certain criteria, you can level up to a next age, and in the next age you can build new units, more advanced things, and then you can upgrade that and then go through different eras and until you become really advanced with your city and your soldiers. The cool thing about Zero AD is what I should have started with. It's free. It's a free game. It's free, so you can just go to their website, download the game, install it, and you can play multiplayer. My brothers and I played this game so many times, and we thought it was so great to play, you know. So there you go. It's an easy game to play, and when we were streaming, because it is free, I could just tell people, you know, just install the game, play with me, and that's what we did. So that was pretty fun. Arausio. Arausio is where you are in a city in Gaul, I believe. And I have to give a little bit of context here. This is not spoilers, right? It's more before context, because many colonies or cities that were founded were sponsored by like important people in Rome, and this one is sponsored by the emperor when it was settled. And the emperor is going to visit the city, and then somebody destroyed a monument, and you are like a military person, like a personal military person from the emperor, like his bodyguard, sent there to investigate what happened before the emperor appears, because there might be a traitor. So you have to go in this theater, and you have to like interview the Jews, ask people's questions, and see if something doesn't fit in the stories. But maybe more things are going on than once. Sadly, I was not able to finish the game, so I cannot even spoil it for you guys, because I told you too many series going on at the same time. But I was able to play it and get a feel for it. So you want to play the game? There it is. And I should lead with this. Every time we have a free game, the game is free. It's free on Steam. You can install it and learn about it. So even if you're like, I don't like deduction games, it's free, you can learn. If you like to learn, there it is. And now we have to go Roblox. I've never played Roblox, and once with a friend, we were drinking a little bit, we decided to make a Roblox account and have fun, but then we just left it, and, you know, people were asking us to play Roblox, so I got the same friend now, and he's the scientist dude, by the way. If you see, like, he does, like, stuff with inside neutron stars he's studying right now, or like researching right now. So I took him, a fellow victim, a volunteer, I mean, and we played Roblox, and we went to Antiquity, we went like to ancient stuff, so that was pretty cool. You could see that people did put effort in. We didn't get the controls at all, so I guess I'm getting old now. Old person now. I don't get the controls. I was struggling. But why is it so different? Why don't you use the standard control scheme? Or is my brain too poopy to understand this? Well, we were able to play around, and some worlds were more interesting than other worlds, but we also don't know what the good worlds were. So people were like telling me that I went to wrong worlds, and there were cooler worlds that we didn't even know. So before uploading the video, I will drop down in the description cool worlds. If you have cool Roblox worlds, just tell me in the description and I will add them to the list down here. So now Hades. I also never really played roguelikes, so this is going outside my comfort zone. Hades was pretty popular a couple of years ago, like many people played it. And it's still fun, because if it was fun in the past, it's still fun today, you know. But I think roguelikes are right. What I said before with the Gladiator game is that you play, and when you die, it gets reset. Only with Hades, there's also a whole lore and story unfolding. Like, you meet characters, and they get sent, they appear also later, and there's like a whole plot going on. And in Hades themselves, like, he's trying to escape Hades. Like, the underworld is called Hades, but his father is also called Hades. So that's a bit confusing, but he's trying to escape both of them. So that's not so confusing. So actually, I didn't need to explain that. But he is, because it's underworld, he's not trying to go under the world, because that's also a place that's called Chaos, the primordial Chaos. But that does happen. You do fall through the... I did jump into a hole and get below the underworld. I met Chaos. Quite chaotic, quite confusing. But the idea is to go out of the underworld, but I don't know if he's trying to get to Olympus, because the gods from Olympus, but those are the heavenly gods, and I don't lore besides. The lore makes it fun, but also the character development makes it fun, so you don't even need to care about the lore. So as you can see here, like, I spent too much time on the lore. But it has so many layers going deeper, and jokes and character development, that next to the roguelike, it feels like you are exploring. The world gets also randomly regenerated. There is like a whole lore reason for that one. So if you like this, and you like the Greek mythology, you can play this game. I'm telling you, you're gonna like it. So there you go. Even me, never play roguelikes, liked it. So that's pretty good. So then we go to Shieldwall. Shieldwall is a strategy game, another one where you command a group of units. So it's pretty cool. But this one is different again than the rest one. So I will tell you with the differences why this one is interesting. This one is more arcadey, where you have like capture the flag, or you have to a group of units, you have a base you can upgrade, and you have different matches. And it's a bit more faster paced. So if you like that, if you just want to jump in, play a strategy game, have some fun, that's the game for you. It's Qvadriga. I don't know the V you have to pronounce like a U, but this is the game that made me understand ancient hooliganism, and that's the reason why we are wearing green today. Because in ancient Roman times, there were like, instead of what we have with soccer or football, they had chariot racing, and people would get wild about those races. Actually, I think they were even better than gladiators. Like, we put gladiator battles everywhere, but this was the stuff back then, and it was also pretty brutal because you could fall out and you would whip the opponents on the other chariots, like that was still bloody. And they use 4 horses when 2 horses is faster, but 4 horses just looks cooler. It's harder to control. So it was pretty wild to watch. I was playing it, and you see the graphics, right? And the game mechanic itself is you race. It goes forward, then it stops. Then you make a decision, so it's like turn-based. But I thought I would just play this game, because I'm experimenting. Like, I will try new games, and for some reason, my brain got hacked. Like, my internal brain, my hooliganism, I didn't know I had my ancient hooliganism, was awoken. I don't know. Like, I understand it. Like, the ancient hooligans burned down part of Constantinople. I understand why now. I feel it. So there you go. Attila Total War. Like, I mentioned Total War before, but this one is a separate one because it will be more clear soon. But the Attila Total War has some unique mechanics than the Rome Total Wars. Is that it simulates more the population, and it has like something with like the destruction of the cities and the provinces that can completely be depopulated. So it has more deeper mechanics. Plus, it has something interesting. It is set at the end of the Western Roman Empire, when Attila the Hun is invading. That's why the name Attila the Total War. So that's why the destruction mechanics are there. But because the simulation is more interesting, more in-depth, plus it has even better battle AI. And I would say because it is not that modern like Rome 2, so it has like less updates, so it's more stable. It has so many more mods. And if you want to play in Antiquity, you can use a mod for that. So you can buy this game, use a mod, play in Antiquity, and you don't need all the DLCs you need to buy for Rome 2. And that's why I'm rewarding you guys for being longer on this video. Because you see here, if you stay loyal, if you watch the video until the end, I'm just joking. The reason why it's here, Attila Total War, I will soon show you guys, because now the next game, and this game is gonna be a companion game and gonna be clear pretty soon, Crusader Kings III. That's another game made by Paradox. This one is set in the Middle Ages, and this game itself is also from the game makers of the Imperator, but it has different simulation because it's set in the Middle Ages, and in the Middle Ages it was dynasty and family was more important than like in Imperator, where you build your civilization. You can rule countries in Crusader Kings, but you rule more the dynasty, and sometimes your dynasty controls different lands and you start to support those to get more prestige. The cool thing about Crusader Kings is like it has an ancient mod, Fallen Eagle mod, where it brings you also back to Attila Total War time period, where you get the Crusader Kings mechanics set in the fall of the Western Roman Empire time. But it doesn't end there. That's why we have the Attila mod. There's an Attila Total War mod that's also a Crusader Kings mod called Crusader Wars. And this mod allows you to do the battles, so like the best thing about Total War in Crusader Kings. Like you do a battle in Crusader Kings and then it switches to Attila Total War. You fight there, the units get translated into that game and it switches back. And because Attila Total War is set in this time period of 400 AD, around that time, the other Crusader Kings game mod also works with this. So there is mods for Attila Total War to be more in later Middle Ages, but there are also mods with the Crusader Kings mod you can play in Antiquity. So that's pretty cool. But it doesn't end there. No, there's another layer I can tell you guys. You can try to enhance your gameplay. There is Imperator Rome Crusader Kings Converter. I told, I believe at the beginning, right, with Imperator Rome, that we are playing like a main campaign where we go through different time periods. And this converter mod gets your save file from Imperator Rome to Crusader Kings. So what you can do, you can decide, well, I played Imperator Rome, or I convert at the beginning of Imperator Rome, I make a save file and just convert it, and build a nation, then play that nation in Crusader Kings with the other mods. Also in Antiquity, if you like. You don't need to wait until the Middle Ages, and have all the chaos and fun you want to have. And there is just one little note I have to do about the conversion, is that the conversion mod itself can only start Crusader Kings after 0 AD. So if you are like 200 BC, the characters will be aged up 200 years. So will probably die in a few months in Crusader Kings, because they're 230 years old. But you can go into commands, and the important characters that you like, you can like age down with commands and then turn commands off. You can also just make your custom character in Crusader Kings III, that's possible. And you don't need to worry about other countries in the world. Let them just die. Like somebody else will just take over the throne or country. So that's fine. So you can use the Attila Total War with the conversion mod and the other one to just have like play any moment, because you can convert from the beginning for Imperator Rome, where you still have Sparta, where you still have Athens, where you still have Carthage, and play around with those countries, or Egypt, you know. But there are more games. There's a game, Europa Universalis, also from Paradox, but this one has this game is more abstract. This one is set at the end of the Middle Ages, right at the end, and then goes through the Renaissance, the Age of Exploration. That goes through like the whole revolution, change of government, technology, the world, because the world started with globalizing and with imperialism, economic models, wars, religious wars. Like it was the chaotic time period where the world just got kicked everywhere. Like every country just got kicked in. Like you would say the Europeans went everywhere, but you can also say the Europeans started slaughtering each other also at a massive scale. So it was a chaotic, quickly changing times, you know, where you go from early muskets and early like cannon pistols with swords and knights to early steam machines. Like this, it's not the Victorian era. It just ends right at the end there, but it has like, I believe there are a couple of steam things that you can build at the end. So it's just the whole big first kick in the gut from humanity that happens. Like first humanity just learns about itself, and it goes as well as it goes. But with a mod, you can go to 0. You can start a different time period. So you can start at a Roman time period and then decide to play through the whole thing and set it until you reach modern times with the mods. So that's pretty cool. Crusader Kings II. It's also like Crusader Kings is a bit at the end, because I wanted to mention it because it's free. The DLCs are not free, but if you have friends who have the DLCs, you can play with the DLCs in multiplayer. But the important thing is about Crusader Kings 2 is in the Middle Ages, but it has a mod, so you can play that in the Roman time period or in the ancient time periods. Well, it's pretty fun because it's free, so you can just install it and there you have it. Gladio and Glory is free. I mentioned at the beginning. There we go. Progress. As a YouTuber, I made progress there. This is a wacky one, where you the game mechanics are a bit wacky. Your swords swing everywhere, but it's funny and it's free. So like it's free, all right. But you have like the same with other gladiator game, but you can go progression system where you start off with nothing and you slowly build up and die but upgrade your guy, or you can go multiplayer. And the multiplayer, even that it's a small game, there are people online, so that's pretty fun. And the fun thing about the whole multiplayer thingy was that in chat, I asked people to join, and we joined and we played around. It was pretty fun to just play and swing and swords and throw weapons at each other, die in horrific ways. It's pretty fun. Other game is Sims 4. Yeah, there is like this whole, in Sims 4, there's like this thing with the whole they're like decades challenge, or people where they go to the Middle Ages and they try to go make families going through the different time periods. And one of those mods is the royalty mod. And the royalty mod has like a mod, the ancient Greek mod. This mod can be used to enhance your game to ancient Greek times with cool clothing, with extra buildings. There's like a whole religion system. I do feel like it has not enough content for me to make a stream out of it. But actually, just I have to mention it because give it love. Install it if you like, play it if you have Sims, or if you enjoy this, you're watching this, you probably like Antiquity. Just give a like and endorsement to the mod makers, so you can show, yeah, this is a pretty cool concept. Also, because another thing about this is that if you like to do like a whole deck exchange, or you want to go to different time periods, you can start in this time period in classical Greek. But you don't need to do decades because that's gonna take forever. You can just take maybe a jumps of 100 years or 200 years, and you say, okay, I do 2 jumps of 200 years, then a few decades, then it's for fun, at the end of the day. And if you just want to play to the different time periods, you can do it like that. It doesn't matter, it's not completely accurate, The other one game is Blade to Sorcery. Blade to Sorcery is a VR game where you play with swords, you swing around. The Blade to Sorcery game is it has also mods in it. I don't know where I read it, if I read it somewhere, but it said somewhere, I think Blade to Sorcery is made by modders for modders, so mod support is great. When I played it, it was still in early access, so they were updating the game. But that's actually meaning, like, I made a video about it, playing it with Antiquity, where I learned cool stuff and fought a little bit. Well, now because it's completely finished, the game, like 1.0 is out, they have more mods. It's more stable, so if you want to try, there are more things than I have showed before or I have experienced. So there you go. With the Blade of Sorcery, what I did learn is that because you have to use different weapons than the medieval weapons, because you're using a large shield hoplon or using a short sword, or a spear, you do move differently and you fight differently. Of course, it's not real, it's VR, but just imagine if you know Kerbal Space Program, where it's like a space simulator and you learn a little bit about the orbit mechanicals. You don't learn enough to actually, maybe, unless you really try to, you could maybe learn like the orbital mechanics. But if you just play the game, you don't really completely learn everything, and maybe there are some things that are not based on reality, like just simulated away. But you get a good feel for it, right? And that's not me. I think other real sword fighters said it on YouTube that's how they felt. But it's not entirely not me without any sword experience. Like in high school, we had like fencing lessons, like not the whole high school, but like for a while a fencing teacher came, and we learned like fencing for a while. And I decided to do that one because I thought it was pretty cool. And I had like a whole arc with another person who was like one of the best with the fencing, and like duels that I would be the best, but at the end he defeated me, so I still have that there, that little grudge. So me having that little bit of sword fighting experience that you don't see totally because I completely don't remember anything. I can say to you guys, you become great sword fighters if you play this game. I just throw it out there. Trust me, I'm a YouTuber. YouTube. Skyrim, bear with me, alright? Okay, there are mods that may enhance the game, but you already have the Imperials that look like Romans. For some reason, even if I use the mods where you change the Imperials to real looking Romans, you can change the Norse or to Gauls or Germanics, but still I don't feel like they are Romans because I've played too much in Tamriel in the Elder Scrolls that I'm like, my brain has disconnected them. I do see them as a completely separate culture and history, even that they use sometimes names that we use in our mythology too and our history too. So for some reason I don't recognize the Imperials as Romans. I see them as a separate thing and a separate history and a separate lore. So even if I see Romans with the real Roman uniforms in Tamriel, I feel like it's like they are role-playing Romans because they should have the Imperials. I made the disconnect in my brain. And I feel like more people will have that. So it would not be enough to just change the clothings and wear like the Greek armor mod for them to play it. But that's not what I want to mention, because what you can do with Skyrim, because it's an old game, it has so many mods, is that you can use all the mods, animation mods, the lighting, the EMBs. You can use like the cool presets for making cool characters. You can make so many little details with so many mods we have, that you could make like cool screenshots or clips or little videos where you put like a bunch of guys fighting each other, or like animations. If you are familiar with Skyrim, you have Skyrim, and you already know a little bit how to use it, it's not that much effort. It would be like just going watch 2 YouTube videos how to do it, install that things. You already have an EMB and stuff like that, and you can make cool clips. And I'm just saying that's pretty cool, right? That's what I put out there. That's the ultimate guide, you know, doing stuff in that Antiquity. If you want to do that's possible to do with Skyrim. Astrigos Curse of the Star is an action game where you fight bosses set from ancient mythology in like a lost cursed city. To be fair, I wasn't able to find more than the first boss because of the whole, me playing too many games. But I put it here so you guys can, if you like this type of game, you can find it, look at it yourself, and decide, hey, this is my type of game, this is my jam. And then you can play it, of course. Then Citizen of Rome Dynasty Ascends. This is where a bit of BitLife, but a Roman late Republic era game where you control the patron of a family, and you make decisions. You manage the real estate, the economy, economic choices you have to do. At the same time, you have to deal with Roman law, Roman customs, events like wars, and I don't know, plagues. I haven't had a plague when I played it. So, and you rise to the ranks. You start like from the bottom up, and you slowly try to become like high senator. So that's pretty cool. If you want to learn, you learn stuff about it. You learn about daily life and daily things people had to struggle with, right? So, of course, you could just read about it or watch watch a video. But this is also a way to learn and interact with it. So there it is out there. Then here are some honorable mentions. For some, I wasn't able to like play these games because they weren't out yet, or I had them on my list, but I played too many similar games, or I bought the games, or when I buy the games, I buy them usually on sale. So maybe they hadn't been on sale, and I cannot spend infinite amounts of money on this. So feel free to look through them. And halfway there will be like a marker where it says like these games are not even released yet, but I have them on my list, so you can decide, all right, these are the games that I might watch for in the future. Of course, I might have forgotten a couple of games or a couple of mods. Feel free to tell them down in the comments. And one last important thing is I'm wanting to do the ultimate guides of the Middle Ages, the Renaissance, the Age of Discovery, the whole Age of Revolutions and Enlightenment and Absolutism, the Industrial Era, Victorian era, Victorian era, let's put similar. I mean, like, and the World Wars, Cold Wars, Modern Era, early sci-fi, and the distant future. In the sci-fi period, I've also like different time frames. Like early sci-fi means like humans explore solar system. Then next first step is humans maybe fly to other stars. Then the next step is the Age of Discovery, not discovery, like more exploration. They go to different, what I mean, like with stars, but they fly to other stars nearby. They maybe meet one alien or two. Then completely stolen from galactic civilization, the game, the Age of the Empire Age, where you have the different space empires that are battling each other out. Then the Age of Awakening, where you have the machines waking up and or interdimensional things happening, or ancient empires waking up. Then you have the Age of Extinction, where you have the whole galactic disasters. Look at Halo or all the stuff. So if you have things that are a bit niche, a bit hard to find, like are not on the top 10s, and you really would love me to put them in there and play them, so I can also tell my experience about them and recommend them even better, feel free to tell them me. And of course also mods, because mods is the hardest thing to do, because I don't know all the modded games, because I have to know the game before I know the modded versions. But thanks for watching, and here are the honorable mentions.